morning. My name is Mike Levick. I'm one of the lay worship leaders here at TJMC and happy to be co-leading service today with Reverend Eric, who will light the chalice as we say the chalice lighting words. Don't use the ones in your order of service. Please use the ones that are projected. Though we've broken our vows 1,000 times, in the lighting of the chalice, ignite the flame of courage within us to seek and forgive His forgiveness and inspire us to be able to forgive others. Our opening words today are the subject of our service, the Kol Nidre prayer from the Jewish tradition. Kol Nidre means all vows, and the much misunderstood prayer is actually a legal formula that applies only to those vows made to God, and to God alone. It does not apply to vows made between people or in a court of law. The words, largely in Aramaic, are chanted 3 times during the evening service of Yom Kippur, the Jewish Day of Atonement. Now, I recently had the pleasure of attending the Kol Nidre service that took place in our own social hall. And I hope that through our service today, not only will you have a better understanding of this prayer and how it can apply to us, but also that you will experience and feel some of what I experienced and felt. Now I invite you to say the words of Kol Nidre along with me. All vows, renunciations, promises, obligations, oaths, taken from this Yom Kippur till the next, may we attain to cease. We regret them in advance. May we be absolved of them. May we be released from them. May they be null to come, whoever you are. It's number 188 in your hymnal. You can read the words here, sing the words here. Please rise in body or in spirit. Sing time to wherever you are.
Now, first, italicized line can be sung underneath the melody of the whole. So anyone who feels that they might have 2 or 3 broken vows, or 20 or 30 or 1,000, you can keep that song going. Broken your vows 1,000 times, broken your vows 1,000 times, broken your vows 1,000 times.
Now is the time of our service of prayer and meditation. And I invite you to follow me through a guided meditation adapted from the Holy Easter service, which will be followed by a time of silence. After the time of silence, the music will begin, and then, if you wish, you can come forward and light a candle of hope and remembrance, or write in the sands of forgiveness and atonement, and wipe those sands clean. So let's give ourselves some time to deeply open to this unique moment. I invite you to close your eyes and allow your body to soften and relax. Bring your attention to the places where you habitually hold stress. It could be your forehead, shoulders, jaw, abdomen, or your back. Now allow those muscles, bones, areas of skin, organs that once held stress to now be filled with ease, flow, softness, spaciousness. Bring attention to your heart. Breathing in and out of the heart is like petals of a flower, opening and closing. Allow your heart to soften and breathe. Move to your mind. Imagine your mind to be as vast as the clear blue sky, extending in all directions, expansive. When a thought comes, let it dissolve like a cloud drifting apart. Now, just be. truest you, going to that place beyond all of your names and titles. Remove your coverings, the masks and stories which conceal the true you. Let go. Let go of letting go. The gates are open and the world is fluid. We are finally awake. If only in fits and starts. If only to toss and turn. Transformation is within our grasp. And now I invite you to follow the sound of the chime into silence. The words have been spoken, silence held, the candles lit, the sands written in white. May all our prayers be heard, and may peace be in our hearts. In the name of all that is holy, and all the holy names that have ever been uttered, and those not even yet imagined, we say, and I invite you to repeat after me. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Shalom.
Shalom.
And Amen.
Amen.
You can remain seated for the meditation song. This song came from the Kol Nidre service and it moved me quite a bit, and I hope it will move you as well. It's called The Way of the Heart. It has two parts. It's sort of an initial chorus and then a verse. And so I'll teach you the chorus and then we'll go through the verse. And then we'll sing it through together several times. Let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart shine through. Okay, you try. Let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart shine through. Okay, here's the love upon love part. Love upon love upon love. the Kol Nidre service through research that I had done on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict that I talked about a few weeks ago. As I did my research, I encountered a lot of anti-Jewish material, including allegations that Jews can't be trusted due to a statement they make every year pronouncing all oaths. And that, of course, led me to Kol Nidre. I was fascinated to learn about the evolution of this prayer or legal formula, and even Jewish resistance to the continued use of Kol Nidre. For some Jews, Kol Nidre is a remnant of ancient superstition and needs to be discarded. For some, Kol Nidre holds meaning due to the history that Reverend Eric will reveal later. Even for some Jews who may have trouble with the legal formula, the words when chanted seem too hauntingly beautiful for them to discard. I suspect many of you have a similar relationship to a song like Silent Night, with which they may have theological problems, but they're too enchanted by the beautiful melody or the connection with their Christian childhood or memories of Christmas to give it up. And during offertory, we'll show you a video of the men's a cappella group singing Kol Nidre, so you can hear it for yourself. I was really excited to learn that there was a Kol Nidre service held at TJMC in our social hall, and I contacted the leader of the service, expressed my desire to attend, and I was warmly welcomed to take part. So I arrived wearing the red shirt, black slacks, and black jacket that I had worn to work, only to find nearly everyone wearing white. Awkward. Yeah, I stuck out like a sore thumb. Now I know how a man feeling a three-piece suit would feel coming into our sanctuary. Now, having attended TJMC for about 5 years, this is my place. But this experience was a good reminder to me of how unsettling it can feel to be a newcomer, a stranger, even in a familiar place with welcoming people. So before entering the social hall, I saw there was a basket of yarmulkes, which are small circular head coverings, and there were various styles and colors, and I was told wearing one would be appropriate, so I did. So I picked up a hymnal then, which immediately felt foreign to me because unlike our hymnals where to get the higher numbers we turn pages from left to right, I had to open the hymnal from sort of the back and turn the pages from right to left. So immediately I sort of felt somewhat out of place. But during the service, I was both cultural anthropologist as well as participant. As best as I could without staring, I observed people praying, chanting, singing. One woman was even moved to dance in the aisles. I recited the prayers, the ones that were translated into English, that is, and I tried to sing the songs, even when they were not. That song, The Way of the Heart, was particularly moving, as was the meditation that was done during the service, made me feel very relaxed and at peace. What I realized is that even though I was a stranger in the midst of an unfamiliar ritual, I was not so out of place after all, despite the color of my clothing. We do many of the same things here in our service, and in fact, we're doing them today. What the Kol Nidre service tried to do and succeeded in doing for me, and what we try to do every week here, sometimes with success and sometimes not, is to touch the mind and the heart and the spirit in ways that help us to be more forgiving, more understanding, more grateful, and more loving. Allow yourself to be touched by Kol Nidre and other experiences that may be alien to you. You may find that they bring forth the sense that above all, we are human beings together on this planet, seeking truth and meaning. And even when we vow to be in covenant with each other, we will sometimes fail. And yet, we lovingly call each other back, time after time after time. Perhaps even 1,000 times. Blessed be.
rituals, the teachings, the guidelines for living that we follow or don't. Imagine that they all matter. And that paying attention to them is as important to your well-being as is, for instance, paying attention to the laws of physics. Ignore them, flout them at your peril. Now, without question, we live in a relativistic world. We know things to be not simply black and white, and not even just shades of gray. We know that we live in a multicolored world. And it's a postmodern world, characterized by, and I'm quoting here, skeptical interpretations of culture, literature, art, philosophy, history, economics, architecture, fiction, and literary criticism. I got that definition from Wikipedia, that source that so many turn to and so few trust. Maybe it's a postmodern encyclopedia. The only change that I would make to that definition is that in addition to skeptical interpretations, I'd say that postmodernism manifests in a self-referentially ironic interpretation of culture, literature, art, philosophy, etc. And of course, religion. Don't forget religion. So it's not all that easy for us to imagine taking all of this seriously, really, really seriously. Life and death, seriously. Sin, for us, for instance, has often been softened to simply missing the mark. I've preached that sermon myself more than once, so I know how we've gone from worrying about our sins to not even being aware of them. And if ever we were to see them, well, we would know exactly what to do about it. Right now, on a checkout counter shelf, there is a magazine promising 10 ways to feel better about yourself. Right now. It's been said that from this religious generation, the 10 Commandments have been reframed as the 10 suggestions. And we don't even really pay attention to them. But again, imagine if we did. If I did, if you did, imagine. What if when someone sneezed and you said, "God bless you," you meant it? Or what if when you were in an argument with someone and you said, "Damn you," you meant it? What if we took these things seriously? And again, I want to be clear here, I'm not asking you to, but it's important for this morning's sermon for us to consider what it would be like if we did. Some of us would think it would be like that. And so, imagine that you really, really meant it when you said to someone, "Seriously, man, I swear to God, I didn't take it." Really meant that you were swearing an oath before God. What would that mean if you took God seriously? Or oaths? No one knows for sure when the Kol Nidre was written or by whom. We do know that it goes back before the 5th century BCE, which is roughly the year 4349 on the Jewish calendar, because it's right around that point that we begin to see arguments among the learned as to whether or not it's a good practice. So we know it's older than that. And not only have there been arguments about whether or not it's a good idea to do something like the Kol Nidre, over the centuries, as Mike suggested, there have been attempts to actually remove it from the liturgy, to prohibit its practice. But it keeps on coming back. Some say, as Mike did, that the melody of the song itself is so beautiful, so haunting, that people keep yearning for it no matter what the learned say. And then there's the legend that the practice began during the time of the Spanish Inquisition, when Jews faced expulsion or death if they didn't convert to Christianity. Some say that the Kol Nidre was developed as a way for these forced converts to repudiate any vows that they've been forced to make that went against their real tradition. The connection between this tradition and the memory of Jewish martyrdom has been given as the explanation for the persistence of Kol Nidre. Except that we know it's way older than that. And while it might have been, in fact, used in just this way in Spain and perhaps elsewhere, that's not why the tradition was created in the first place. It can't be. And while we can't be exactly sure why, we can't be completely sure of the circumstances that led to its composition, I think it is safe to assume that it probably arose to address a perennial problem among people who take things like oaths and promises seriously. And that's that, simply put, we make them and we break them. We make them and we break them. And as far as I can tell, it has been so since the beginning of time, just as it is still so today. But at least we don't really take it all that seriously, right? Except that we kind of do, don't we? I mean, let's take a look at that most casually made of all vows, the New Year's resolution. Okay, so we say, this year I'm really going to get that exercise thing going. But by February, the only heavy lifting I'm doing is from the plate to my mouth, right? Now, we probably haven't said something like, I swear upon Almighty God and upon all that is holy and at the cost of my very life, that this year I'm going to get that exercise thing going. And even if we did, well, most of us wouldn't take all that extra verbiage all that seriously. Because, after all, we've got that whole skeptical, self-referentially ironic, postmodern thing going on. Still, in your heart of hearts, if you're really honest with yourself, when you see the same thing showing up on that list year after year after year, it's kind of demoralizing, isn't it? You've tried to quit smoking, or spending so much time on Facebook, or shopping for things you don't need, or whatever it is. And when you realize that you tried over and over and over again, you start to feel kind of stupid, or weak-willed, or kind of like a failure. Some of you are smiling in a way that lets me know you know what I'm talking about. Some of us have even decided to give up trying rather than try and fail once again. It's not surprising to me at all that the practice of making New Year's resolutions is falling out of favor. But see, I don't think that this is a sign that we don't take the idea of promises, of vows seriously today. I think that it's a sign that we do, but that we've forgotten how to make them. In our celebration of relativity, we've largely forgotten how to make a commitment. In our embrace of all things, we've forgotten how to say that this thing matters, or that this thing is important to me. In part because we take a skeptical and ironic view of all those words and stories and rituals and teachings and guidelines for living that we follow or don't. All of that religious stuff the traditions offered us. Because we no longer take all that stuff seriously, we've lost something important. I fear that we've thrown the baby out with the bathwater, as it were. Now let me be clear again, I'm not at all suggesting that we all, or any one of us individually, return to the more traditional, more black and white religious traditions in which we might have been raised, or which we see all too much evidence of all around us. I do not believe that religion need mean that kind of religion. that we have largely rejected, most of us, and for good reason. But I do think that we lose something when we don't take any of that stuff seriously. Because it comes from and speaks to very deep, very human, very real places within us. I believe that we do want to believe in something, want to have faith in something, even if it's not a divine daddy in the sky, but simply the inherent worth and dignity of all people, or the grandeur of that interconnected web of existence of which we get to be a strand. I recently read the thought that it's not enough to be good. You have to be good for something. And I think that's a basic desire for us human beings. We want to be good for something. We want to, at least metaphorically, take a stand for something. But in today's world, taking anything too seriously is seriously unhip. And resolving to do this instead of that, to commit to this as vitally important to me, well, that's hard. And that's scary. Because we know what happens to the vast majority of those New Year's resolutions, ours and other people's. But once again, Judaism shows itself to be such a wise tradition. The Kol Nidre is a mechanism, a tool for freeing oneself from the guilt of these broken vows, that pressure, that weight, that pain. Simply put, it says, if I have made a promise to myself in the past year that I have not been able to fulfill, let me be freed of the guilt of that failure so that I might start again, fresh and clean. And if I go on to make such vows again this year, may I also be forgiven for that. If we are open ourselves to this teaching, it will remind us that it's important that when we make a vow, take an oath, profess our truth, take a stand. When we do these things, we should take them seriously. But not so seriously that we imprison ourselves when we end up acting like what we are, fallible human beings. I don't know about you, but this is a message I need to hear over and over and over and over again. It is, I hope, a message that we will share with one another, that we will remind each other of, and that maybe someday we'll learn to truly take to heart. Let's begin. Now at this time, the ushers are going to move among us to take the financial offering that supports the work of this place, and we are, as Frank said, going to listen to and watch a performance of the Kol Nidre, which may go on a little longer than our offering, but it is in and of itself an offering. So may these offerings be received.
Oh,
And we have one more song to sing. This is one that we have sung. This is one we've sung quite a bit recently, but is very fitting for this Sunday. So I invite you to rise in body or spirit, and we will sing Return Again. Please remain standing for the closing words. Closing words will be an adaptation of the Kol Nidre done by the Unitarian Church in Dallas. If you would read along with me, this will be our closing words. Now all here are set free to be themselves, not slaves of pressure, duty, or habit. Each and every commitment to unswerving behavior or opinion We are set free from our choices